Hi guys, welcome back to another video. We have today a 2016 Ford S-Max, and what do we have? We have a 2 litre Peugeot engine inside it, and this thing from the very start has been a pain in my bottom. Started off with to do a head gasket on this about 3-4 months ago up on YouTube. I didn't actually, I put up a short, I think, about a crank pulley bolt breaking, and then I had 2 or 3 head bolts, the actual socket part broke off the top of them, and it was just not running. Didn't run as smoothly as what we wanted. After we done that, we put it back together, customer got the car back, and lo and behold, 2 months or so later, an Airtex water pump failed in it. The impeller fell off it, car boiled over again, and I tried to get another pump from someone else, and I couldn't get anywhere, kind of a different brand, but I couldn't get one, but Airtex was the only one I got, so we replaced it with another Airtex pump. Off the car goes, and for the last 2 or 3 months it was grand, but lo and behold, he broke down, and then when he broke down, it sounds like there's a broken belt in it. But look what has happened. A layer of carpety stuff has come off the front of the belt. It has more than likely, we had cam sensor faults, it had airflow, cam sensor faults and airflow faults. Cranks like a yoke that valves are closed on, so we're probably at a bending and breaking something here, but turns kind of, so the initial compression is from the air that's in the cylinders, and then when it can't get in fresh air, creating that fault, it spins away like crazy, like there's a broken time on it. But that bit of carpeting and stuff must have got caught underneath crank pulley and the belt, and then she slipped away and has gone crazy. But I don't even know where I got this, what supplier or whatever I got that belt off of, but lo and behold, that thing is after failing on. I haven't seen this before, but the only reason I'm doing a video on it is because of that. Look, I'm going to get this thing apart. Don't know if it has done damage. Maybe it'll be an interesting video about if there's damage done or if there's not damage done. But long and short of it is we'll start taking this thing off and see where we end up. Going to pull it apart right now. Engine mounting off, under tray is off, support the engine, pull off the belt, get a new belt, fit it on it and see what happens. And hopefully there's no damage done, I hope. All right. I don't want to be doing this for free, hard job, getting warranty, all this kind of crack, but for now we'll get a belt and see where we end up, okay? Okay guys, not much of a tutorial or any crack here. Wing liner down, under tray, sitting in here off. 22 bolt holding in the crank pulley, came out nice and handy. And because we had done the water pump on this, as I said, after being on it only a month or so, Alan has a little mark that he had put in here on the flywheel to give us the position of the crank position. And what am I doing then? The original position pin is up in behind the starter, but it's hard to get at. So on this occasion, because of that, I'm wanting to know whether I've damaged done or not, I'm not going to the original marks. But if we look up here, what has actually happened? Lumen belt, after 7 or 8 thousand miles, has just pulled teeth clean off it. God damn cars. It's an INA belt, from what I can see. So look, you have to be careful of that. And then the Airtex water pump as well. I know, look, these things go around, but people have asked me, would you think INA would be good or Airtex would be good? And then I was cracking. You'd be saying a big manufacturer, there'd be no bother with anyone. But look, here we are today in a position because of failure of components. Don't know. Right, we're going to get the belt off, get it swapped around and see if we damage. Okay guys, what did I do? We've the belt that been pulled off it, and well, I'll show you exactly what has happened there. It wasn't just this layer of carpet that came off it, it actually pulled teeth off the belt. Explain why, I can't. I do see like this white coating that we normally on a kind of a Volkswagen belt, which probably is a little bit abnormal with that. Now I just yesterday online, and I want to know whether I've damage done on this thing or not. And yesterday online, I ordered another time belt kit. And what have I done? Took off the belt. After I took off the belt, I took it off with Alan's marking, as you saw down below. That was a yellow homemade mark from a reference of the pin being stuck in the locking pin in behind the starter motor. But when I did, what I had, I said, oh no, we're going a long way, so I only have a drill bit stuck in here now. The locking pin on this thing Alan would have used way back when he changed the actual belt after the water pump had failed. Now, where that hole was sitting right over here, and because it was nearly 180 degrees out, I'm wondering maybe, just maybe, could I have not done too much damage? Now, I don't know. I was vaguely running through it in my head, which I'm not going to go through too hard and heavy. Could I have halfway around, and might that halfway around, rather than a little bit out of kilter, have avoided damage? That I can't say. Anyway, ordered this thing, and I ordered it online, and have it sitting out here now. Done it late, as I said yesterday evening, and we have the new belt to go in and onto it. Now, the new belt, which I see... Oh, one thing, something some lads are going to say is, was the belt, after being on the car for a month and a half or something like that, was the belt, and the belt should have been renewed. But anyway, we didn't, because it was only in there a month. I left it alone, and we fitted this thing back on it. We fitted it on in the same directional rotation. But I don't know, what I'm seeing is that this new belt that's sitting here, it looks like it doesn't have that kind of a white coating thing. Anyway, more so than being fussy on our position, whether it's something that we done wrong or the actual belt just failed, or design flaw. Why have they gone away from that? Number one, why have they gone away from this crack? Number one. Number two, I want to know if it's after doing damage. So we're going to get this thing as fast as I can, turn the key and see. I have only just turned the camshaft looking for kind of tight spots all the way around, which it seems to have. So I'm hoping that we're not after doing damage, and that when I put this thing together, I could turn the key and she might just sound like it has compression, or better again, start. If it doesn't, potentially I'm going to be pulling off cam box up here. Awkward enough L1, because you can see nothing in here. Injectors have to come up, cam box lift up, and then we'll see if we have rockers bent. But I'm going to refit the belt first and see when I turn the key, press the button, whatever it is, what happens. I'm going to lob it onto it now and see where we end up, okay? As you know, I'm using my mark down here, Tipex mark, using that mark. That's as awkward as it's going to get right now. Slap it together and see where we end up. Okay, just to show you maybe on a visual aspect, on the cam pulley, there's two holes in it. It's the second one that I only have a drill bit in it. I don't know what it is, 6 or 7 mil drill bit or something like that. I have that in there lined up. The actual crank pulley, or the flywheel actually locking pin, you can see it in here. The starter motor sits in there, but that pin Alan has lined up, and when he lined up that the last day while doing the water pump, he then also marked the flywheel down there, okay? So I'm not getting in at that because it's quite awkward to get in at. I'm not taking out the starter, as I said already. So at this point in time, I have now our belt fitted on. I have that pin in there. I just have to line up my little mark down here, as we have fairly well done. There is a flywheel locking device here. I'm hoping that I'm not going to need it, and I'm going to get this in together. Now, I'm going to show you about the tensioner. Only something small. Can you see it? You can. Right there, there's a little arrow. So when you're tightening or tensioning these things, it twists anti-clockwise, and when it twists anti-clockwise, then your little tensioning tab will pull down, and once that's between those two pins there, that's when we can lock our 13 bolt out here. Just to show you what the visual side of it, so the Allen key goes into the tension here, it spins around, 13 bolt then gets squeezed at that point once these tabs are in line, okay? All straightforward, so you know what that is about, and we're going to put it together, turn the key and see where. I have my crank sensor on, I have my tone ring sitting on, that's held solid on the crankshaft, and my little mark is interior lined up, and I'm just going to hold it in that hole there while tightening it with a pry bar, and that's going to be that, and good enough for us to turn the engine and just see if we got compression at that stage. Okay, I've reinstated the belt, lined up all my marks. What else? I had an ECU out here yesterday for disassembly. I've just popped it back into place with a couple of bolts holding it on. It's only barely hanging there. I haven't put on timing covers. I have a bottom cover on, alright, to get on the crank pulley, as you saw on the tone ring, but it is back together. It feels okay. I've done 2 rotations with that, and it feels like there's compression there, but if any of the valves are in theory not opening, you're going to feel like I've compression at the start. When I turn the key, as I said in this thing, it turns kind of a, because of, as I said there, stagnant air that's inside it. So I could in theory be feeling compression at this point in time because of stagnant air. I have the battery disconnected. I don't think I have anything else. I stuck on the alternator belt, and you'll see the first turn of the key. What'll happen here? Oh gosh. I hope. Just don't need the hardship now of taking this thing apart at this point. Come on, babe. I have no fault codes cleared as of yet, but what's going to happen when we turn the key? No. She ain't working on you. So that is a non-runner, lads. Yeah, she's not happy. Whatever she's not happy with, she's not happy. We're going disassembly. Okay, my thinking thought process was on this, that what I'm going to do is disassemble a few bits and pieces up the top, a few lines and stuff, and get up 4 injectors, send in a Borescope, try and see what's happening in there at the valves. If I can see it, okay, we have a starting point, we have a direction to go. If I can't, I don't know. I don't think there's valves bent in this, and I don't think that they bend valves, but I do know, and I would say that they break and do damage underneath the rockers, camshafts, all that kind of stuff. So in theory, could I have chain in here at the slip, and could I have rockers that are getting bent? I think with valves being dead straight, when it gets a straight shot, it actually doesn't bend the valves, it just breaks whatever is above it, and I'm hoping for that. So I'm going to go in and just see if the valves are opening. When I have a piston heading down the way, I'm going to look and see if I have intake valves opening, 2 of them, in each cylinder. And then on the way back up, I'm going to be looking for exhaust valves opening. Not a good day for mankind having to deal with this stuff, but anyway, neither here or there. It's we're the position we're in right now, and we must take out the injectors and just have a look, see what the story be. That's this business, lads. It goes like that. It doesn't all run to plan. They don't all go as they should do. This is, as my dad used to say years ago, this is a real Monday morning car. And anyone that's in this trade is going to hit this kind of stuff. Not a nice engine to work on. Everything is awkward. There's nothing straightforward. You can't just get in like a Volkswagen or anything and pull it out. Dare I say, even a Mazda. But yeah, look, it has to come apart. We have to get out these injectors, try and see if we can do a visual on it, and we'll move forward from there. If we need to, we'll take off the cam box, right? Fingers crossed again, I don't need to take off the cylinder head and drop this thing. I'd nearly drop it out on the ground. It's just too blooming awkward to take a head off it without dropping it on the ground. If we need to. But right now, we're not going to do that. We'll do a leak down test on the valves, make sure they're closed and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, move forward. Okay, guys, what I don't have is I don't have jack for in-cylinder pressure testing. So that's out. That's the reason I'm going for this thing. I'm just looking here. I'm looking at 2 valves. I believe they're intake because they're on the front. My side camera is looking forward. The Borescope is down in the whole cylinder. And you can see here I have these 2 valves. See now? Opening anyway. Okay, so we've just gone over top to the centre, and I have these, as I said, 2 valves opening. I might wait, and it's going to push my camera up now as soon as they come up to top dead centre, so I don't want to break my camera. It's going to be hopefully down on the induction stroke, okay? Back up on compression, and then we're going to have the power stroke, and then we're going to have the exhaust stroke. So I'm going to swip around, giving 360 of revolution on this thing, and just see how the other side open. I'm going to do the same thing on each and every cylinder along the way and just see where we end up. Okay guys, my bit of fidgeting is done. Here's my exhaust valves, and they are not opening. And my camera mic, I'm turning my engine here with this. The clicking you hear in the background is that. At no stage do my exhaust valves open. Piston come top to center. Hopefully my Borescope will go back down. Yeah, good. It's around it with oil ingress in there, so I don't know why that's happening, but for now anyway, I'm still turning. Sorry about the shaking camera. Top to center again. We at no stage got any of those 2 on that bank to open. So look, the long and short of it is that's proof enough for us to have to take off cam box off the top of this thing and go looking for damage. We have damage done in there. Ooh, the joys of it. Anyway, no one likes doing these yokes when it's kind of falling back upon whoever, whether it's faulty parts or what the heck. If it goes wrong like this, no one wants to see it, but here we are, and we have to resolve it at this stage and do a bit more disassembly. I'm hoping that I can get off the cam box relatively handy up here and get in to see what the heck has gone wrong in here. Do a visual on it. It has to come off to resolve this anyway, so the rest of the cylinders don't bother me at this point in time. We're going to drive on, pull out the cam box and see where we end up. Okay. I'll show you what I'm seeing. So when I'm, give me a light going. When I'm looking in here, we have an immersive mounted plate, which is probably hard to see in the rocker in there. I was trying to pinpoint what is it. Was it hydraulic tappets at the failing or what? And I'm looking over here with the camera or the borescope, so the camera is sitting in just down there. I'll try and see if I can find. Do I see that's the spring? Okay. You can't actually see that without my light on. Okay, can you see that crack and our brake in the actual rocker? I can't actually turn the camera, so I can't. Okay, there's a better visual on the actual rocker. Just that a brake and rocker is straight across the middle, which is hopefully, it is better than having to take the head off it. So as I said there, we'll have to take off that cam box. Belt will have to come off again. Cam box off. Hoping I don't have to be touching too much stuff over around this area. Maybe I will. Probably will. Truth be told, because I think, oh no, I don't. I was going to say that the camshaft will come up with that one, I think. Maybe it won't. Actually, do you know what? This might work out for me that maybe I can leave the cams in there. If I could leave the camshafts in there, I might just get a bit of room, like my Mazdas, and be able to take my camshaft up to change or replace the rockers. And maybe I might be able to not disassemble that side. I have the high pressure pump and the vacuum pump that's over there. As I said, everything is stupidly awkward in these things, and to be fumbling and foostering, and the less I've taken apart, the less I'm going to have to go wrong on me. Not that there's not enough gone wrong at this stage, but I'm going to try and get off this cam box with as little disassembly as possible and see where we're at. I'm probably going to need at least 6 or 8 of these yokes along here, the rockers. I'm hoping that maybe I don't need them here. I've seen on Volkswagens and stuff when they break belts and break these little chains and stuff at times where they have, you know, just bent all the valves on one bank or whatever we call it. Mightn't be called bank, but you know, on the intake or on the exhaust. So hopefully it's just gone out of kilter and damaged these ones over here. I'm going to drive on, try and get this cam box off and get a few rockers ordered for this trying to get the thing flowing, okay? Okay guys, I'm after removing a rank of bolts out of here. I don't know if these little ones in here are holding just caps for the camshaft. I do know on this side that they're not. So I'm hoping, because the tensioner sits there, can't remember last time this was done, but I'm hoping that the tensioner and the chain and the two camshafts kind of stay sitting in situ. And also I'm hoping over here, because there is kind of a cam gearbox, whatever you want to call it, driving the actual high pressure pump. So I'm hoping by taking out bolt out of in there and one back here and one sitting in here in the vacuum pump, I'm hoping that maybe my cam box will cope without disassembling that in its entirety. Now I have rockers on the way, so hopefully I'll have them in the next hour or two, and fingers crossed this will come up with a place somewhat easy. I'm just about to lever it now and see what happens, but I'm going to do it off camera in case it goes quick. Okay guys, I give a little wiggle and a woggle and up she comes. Oh yeah, injector pipe. Okay. Okay, we are in theory in case of just getting into the rockers. Let's see, I've 16 of them, or a full set of them coming, so hopefully we're going to have enough to resolve and fix. And yeah, that's it. Look, we're going to disassemble, get it back together and see where we're at. Okay, after I pulled up the cam box, then I had 3 little bolts holding down my chain here, and I brought the chain up with, or intact, and have the cam box and stuff sitting down there. I've also taken up 8 rockers on that side. I'm just going to give you a gawk what is actually had to happen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 broken. There's one good one to give us a cross reference from, or that's an intake one, and that is one of the new ones. Okay, we have 8 of these ready to go back in a box, but yeah, put them in, get our camshaft on and see where we end up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new rockers sitting in there. I've examined them once and they look fine, so we're leaving those alone. I had only just little homemade marks that were in there since the last time that the cylinder head was off of this thing. 6 or 8 months ago they didn't actually go off, which is unusual, but anyway, nearly here. It's going back together. That is cleaned up and ready to be sat in and pull down my camshaft, and yeah, the next step then after that, start reassembling our stuff here. Okay, we are reassembled with the engine, timing belt back on. Cam box is squeezed down and I've given the engine a couple of spins around. I don't again have anything to do with leak down test here. All I used was a blow gun, brought it at top dead center, and on specific cylinders then pushed, and if my engine was trying to turn, I'm suggesting that that's going to be enough for me just at this point in time to see where we go. And I do believe we're not leaking. I do have cranked, and I had a little bit of a compression tester there, which is not really significant to me, but I do have compression in the cylinders. Outside of that, we're reassembling, and hopefully we're going to be awesome. Rocker cover on, injectors in and torqued, wire looms, some of the fuel lines, pipes going back together, a couple of bolts stuck back in the vacuum pump, and that gear for driving the high pressure pump, brackets, bits and pieces of that, getting there. Another couple of half hour maybe or so, and I should have all these bits and pieces back together, ready to battery back in to turn the key and see where we go. Fingers crossed it'll start. Okay, guys, all back together. My bad battery, so I can't find my booster back then either. So I have a set of jump leads on it, a car running in the background, but we're going to go along, turn the key. It's kind of a stupid setup because it's very awkward to get in at the fuel lines, the high pressure fuel lines, so because of that, it could be hard to start because of airlocks. But in saying that, look, I just can't get in at them, so I'm not going to even try to get in there. So I could have airlocks between my pump. My high pressure line was off. The high pressure lines then from the rail to the injectors were off. So this could be hard to start. Could take a bit of cranking over, but we're going to see it here live. And I haven't cleared faults or any of that stuff, so we're just going blind now and going to see what happens. Have spun the engine, as you know, but I'm just going to go along and do a bit of cranking and see. It might take a while. Sounds better, the compression. Whoa! Yay! Don't mind any of these things, so I don't, because this thing, as I said there, didn't get any faults cleared. But the generic smile. Anyway, we're running. With my car in the background, keep me going, but we're up and going. We haven't valves bent. My bit of a leak down test, be it country style or whatever it may be, is enough for us right now. Woo! The hardship, where do you go? What do you do? Like, you have a new time belt on this thing 3 or 4 months ago. We had a water pump that failed in the interim. We have a time belt that failed, and you're like, oh man, what's going on here? What's kicking me to death? I don't know. But where do you stand? Do you then knock manufacturers because of something happening? I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We don't need this. I am going to be trying to get compensated for this. Customer is not going to be paying for it because it's my accountability. But then I'm pushing that accountability on to the supplier that I got the time belt kit from. But at this point in time, we're up and running. The problem is gone. The headache is, in theory, going to be gone. And we're back to this, going back to the customer. Look, I'll get this out on the road. I'll do a few miles to make sure everything's okay. And I'll follow up in a little while. What do we see on this thing? We had 195,627, if you can see it there. And I'm going to do a couple of miles, and I'll do a follow up just to see how it's acting and behaving in 100 or so miles, just for peace of mind. Okay, thank goodness that's up and running anyway. Woo-hoo. Okay guys, one last little thing before I go, these are the faucets that were stored there. Low pressure fuel system, that's us because of cranking. Mass airflow, crankshaft position, camshaft position, and camshaft position sensor intermittent. Battery went flat on this thing as you saw, so I have a whole barrage of voltage faults. I'm just going to get rid of them. Quick erase. This is just before we go for our maiden voyage, as I said there. We saw the miles that were on it, so it's a case of give her a spin and see. Okay. Sorry. Okay. There's actually 190 something on it there. Look, belt and the head gasket was done at 186. Long and short with the engine will have to be washed and all that crack, and she will have to go out for a couple of miles, but it's up, it's running, it sounds okay, sounds good, and we have all the barrage of the plastics and stuff fitted back on at this stage, ready for the high road. Get our miles done. I'll talk to you in a couple of seconds, I suppose, a couple of hours, day, whatever it may be for me, but for you, a couple of seconds. Okay guys, now I actually don't know the reference of what miles were done on it, but I probably about maybe 100 miles or so done in this thing over the weekend. Car driving finest, no lights on the dash, everything doing what it should do, and it's ready to go back to the customer. Now, where are we going? Where do we go on this thing? The warranty claim is in go, or in the process, so that's not dealt with as of yet. What do we take? What we've questioned in our mindset is, what could pull the teeth off of this belt? Would there be a wrong fitment on a pulley, or a pulley with different spacings or something like that? We can't see anything wrong like that. Also then, the belt being tensioned a second time after it was fitted and the water pump failed, could that have done it? Don't know. The warranty claim is going to be where these manufacturers, INA, are going to be looking at the actual belt to try and see is there some reason, or maybe try and point the finger at someone like ourselves or whatever. I don't believe personally belt on it, and I wouldn't have thought of this, and I wouldn't have ever gone foolsome with that. A month after being on it and the water pump fails and the belt comes off and the belt is refitted, I wouldn't, and I was trying to keep the cost down, I suppose I shouldn't have, but I was. I wouldn't say that the belt being retensioned the second time after 4 weeks of driving, when the pump failed, the water pump, I don't think that that's the cause of the thing. Maybe you'll say yes, maybe you'll say I don't know, I don't believe so. I think it's manufacturing failure. But for now anyway, here we are, car's up, car's running. The pointer to take from this, I suppose, is if they break a belt, they don't actually bend valves, they'll only bust or break rockers. There's one pointer. I suppose they could, if the rockers are stronger, they could turn or twist lobes on camshafts. They haven't on this occasion. So, anyway, it's up and running. We don't really know. I don't really care. The long and short of it is it came in, had to be fixed, had to go out to the customer. So, this thing's up, running, done, and going back. And I hope some bit of this was some bit of good tea. Maybe if not, I don't know. Real garage life doesn't entail all this bullshittery of, and I'm classing it as bullshittery of, you know, exacts. If I know something is right, I'm going to use that as gospel, and then I'll come back around and I'll use what I know is right, and we'll move on from there. But anyway guys, if you liked this, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in the next cartoon, and thanks very much for watching guys. See you later on.